Hi, this is Dr. Gregory Sadler. I'm a professor of philosophy and the president and founder of an educational consulting company called Reason.io, where we put philosophy into practice. I've studied and taught philosophy for over 20 years, and I find that many people run into difficulties reading classic philosophical texts. Sometimes it's the way things are said or how the text is structured. But the concepts themselves are not always that complicated, and that's where I come in. To help students and lifelong learners, I've been producing longer lecture videos and posting them to YouTube. Many viewers say they find them useful. What you're currently watching is part of a new series of shorter videos, each of them focused on one core concept from an important philosophical text. I hope you find it useful as well. One of the problems when it comes to friendships that inevitably arises for many of us, and which Cicero devotes some discussion to in his work on friendship, is unfortunately that quite a few friendships will end. And it's interesting that he provides advice drawn from other people, including Cato, the great Stoic philosopher and statesman, and from his own experience about how best to extricate oneself from friendships that have, you might say, gone sour. Something is wrong with the relationships. And so we're best off by considering, well, why is it that friendships end? And there's a number of different possibilities. One would be the vice of the person who is not the one ending the friendship, but the one who has to end it. He says that there are often in friends outbursts of vice which affect sometimes their actual friends, sometimes strangers, yet so that the infamy of the evil flows over onto the friends. Now that's some pretty old-fashioned language, but I think we can bring this into the present. Imagine that you're out at a restaurant having some appetizers and then a meal and drinks with one of your friend, and they've had a bad day. Something went wrong at their workplace. Something's going wrong maybe in their love life. Their stock portfolio took a hit. Who knows what it is, right? Whatever it is, it's weighing on their mind, and they are really crappy to the service staff, and they get into an argument with, say, the waiter, and the manager has to come over, and then they're fighting with the manager, and it gets to the level of shouting profanity and swinging at them and getting thrown out of the restaurant. Now, you're sitting there like, what is going on here? This is my friend. Should I be backing them up? They're acting like a real jerk to other people. I don't think I should be condoning this behavior. Now let's say that this friend, in addition to doing that, they get thrown out of the restaurant, and they're like, are you coming? And you're like, yeah, I guess the meal's over now. And you go out, and they're like, can you believe that nonsense? And you're like, man, you need to calm down. I think you were actually in the wrong here. And then they turn on you, and they're blowing up at you. And you're like, all right, I'm out of here. And you get in your car, and you drive away, and you're like, that was a really unpleasant experience. And then, you're not even home before they're texting you about how, you're such a bad friend and you should have taken their side. Now, there's a couple different vices going on there. The person didn't manage their anger well. They, may have problems with, generosity or kindness with others. There could be all sorts of other issues involved there. That might be the sort of thing where you're like, I don't know, and I want to be friends with this person anymore. And we could come up with plenty of other examples as well. You find out that your friend is into some sort of practice that you simply can't condone. And you're like, I thought I was cool with this, but I think you're kind of disgusting, and I'm not going to deal with this anymore. Or they're doing something that's unjust, So there's an issue there. And then another one that Cicero has talked about at quite length is what do you do when friends make demands on you based on your friendship, based on loyalty, that you do the wrong thing, whether by action or omission, that you in some way cooperate in badness. Those are things that break up friendships. Prime example of that is your friend cheats on their significant other, tells you, who is friends with their significant other, and this isn't the first time that they've cheated, that you need to keep this secret so that there aren't any negative consequences for them, and it doesn't hurt the significant other's feelings, and it keeps the relationship going. This is a genuine dilemma, and it's not a good thing for a friend to ask, right? That can destroy friendships as well. Then there can be differences that arise, and Cicero brings up some prime examples of this. He says that we might have a change in disposition. He says, aut morum, aut studiorum commutatio, right? Is a nice phrase. Change of disposition and tastes. Morum is mores. That means your habits, the ways in which you behave. So disposition translates that quite well. Studiorum, the things that you devote yourself to. You may have become friends with somebody because you were into the ill-fated series, Game of Thrones. If you don't know what that is, it's a HBO series that I believe ran for 8 seasons. It was based at the start very closely, and by the end very loosely, on George R. R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire. Let's say that you were into the Song of Ice and Fire books, which are quite good, and then you got into the series, and you became friends with somebody because you would talk back and forth about what was going on in the show, and you had a ritual. You'd show up to each other's place every week to watch the new episode as the seasons ran on, right? You bring the beer this time, and I'll have the popcorn or whatever it's going to be, and you developed a kind of intimacy. Now, let's say, here we'll make it an even more interesting example. Let's say that your friend is a trend bucker, right? Because pretty much everybody's agreed that the last season, and in particular the ending of Game of Thrones on HBO, was garbage from a narrative perspective. It was just awful. That's why there aren't people engaging in it anymore. It's lost its sort of luster that it had. But your friend is a contrarian. Your friend says, I think it was one of the best seasons ever, and this is wonderful. And you're like, come on, man, look at the books. Look at how good the writing was at the start when it was drawing heavily on George R. R. Martin, and look at all these different characters that they basically just threw away with stupid Hollywood tropes, and they just made a complete mess of it. It's not even coherent by the end, right? And now you disagree. This is a disagreement in what Cicero is calling your studia, right? Your tastes. So, that can provoke an end to the friendship as well. He also, quite, importantly for our own times, talks about a difference in political views, things about the, in re publicae partibus, right? The things that concern, we might say, not just politics, but society and culture. People drift apart when it comes to those matters. So how should we handle this? Cicero tells us we need to be very, very careful in breaking off our friendships. Why? Well, he's on to something really important here. When we have a hasty break, it often turns into a nasty break, right? It produces hostility. It produces hatred. There's nobody who's quite so capable of hating as somebody who originally loved. We've all heard the thing about a person spurned. Well, that applies even more to friendships. And so this is a real risk, and he gives some interesting examples here of things that happen like that. It's very common that when there's an intimate relationship with people, when they've shared a lot, when they know where each other's vulnerabilities are, when they have a sense of expectations from each other, if the friendship is broken off right away, that at least one of the people in it will become quite aggressive with the other one. And this could be physically, slashing tires, stalking them. This could be on the internet, writing terrible things about them, and then you have to block them or something like that. There's an entire range of bad behaviors that people engage in, and Cicero says you don't want to arouse resentment, particularly if you're the one breaking off the relationship. So he gives Cato's advice And Cato suggests that when these sorts of things happen, we should have a gradual relaxation of intimacy. And this is a translation of remissione usus. The usus is, it can be translated as use, but it can also be translated as sort of what we do together, the custom that we have. Again, if we're using the Game of Thrones thing, maybe you stop showing up at the person's place, or you spend less time. You don't hang around, chit-chat with them, and the sessions get further and further apart and shorter, and you're not ghosting them, but you're not responding to texts right away about things. So a gradual relaxation of intimacy rather than simply breaking it off right away, right? And in some cases, this lets the person get the hint, and they're like, oh, yeah, I guess we're not that close. Or since friendship, often does depend on how often we're connected with each other, that can lower it. Maybe the person gets real busy, and you don't have to worry about it. And he also suggested an unraveling rather than breaking the friendship. Dissuendi that's a gerundive used of the friendships. They are to be unraveled rather than breaking them. Discendendi, right? And we might use the word disentangle. And think of it as like a friendship being like a knot. You don't want to just cut the knot. The story of the famous Gordian knot, right? Alexander the Great comes across this famous knot that can't be unraveled. He takes a sword and he just cuts it, and he's like, problem solved. Well, that's not problem solved when it comes to delicate human relationships and where each of these threads is a tie of affection or a memory or something along those lines. So instead, you got to kind of pull at things and slowly unravel them. The unraveling would be sort of like, a woven piece of fabric, right? He does make an exception. He says that there could be some things that a person is doing where you really do have to break off the friendship right away. As we say, pull the Band-Aid off, the contemporary expression. Band-Aids hurt when you pull them off, usually because they're connected to your hair, right? And they pull the hair out. And is it better to slowly peel it back? Or is it better just to rip it off right away? Well, in some cases, it's better to do that. What would be the criteria for that? It's not, that your psychological comfort or something like that. It's that the person is doing something genuinely wrong, and you cannot cooperate in this anymore. So that would be, Cicero talks about some unendurable wrongdoing, something where you're like, this went too far, man. I can't deal with you anymore. Now, Cicero gives a few additions to Cato's advice that also seem good. And one, he says that there should be care that no discord arises. So you don't want to just walk in and say, hey, done with you, see you later, have a good life, good luck. You want to make sure that you're not having any disagreements or discords arising because you know that the person is probably not going to be happy about the friendship ending. He also, now this may sound, since he uses the word appearance, videret in Latin, it may seem a little bit sketchy to some of you. He says you want there to be an appearance that the friendship has burned out rather than been stamped out. And the metaphor here, of course, is of a fire. So, if you just don't feed a fire, eventually it turns into embers, and then those embers die out, right? There's other ways of putting out a fire very quickly, and one of them is stamping on it, and that is a more active thing. Instead of just not feeding the fire or tending the fire, you're putting the fire to death, you could say. And so he says you want to avoid doing that. You want to avoid the appearance of that. And then he also tells us one other thing that's quite interesting here. He suggests that if hatred does result, if your former friend is angry with you, becomes an enemy, starts bad-mouthing you, trying to create conflict, stir up drama, then he says, just bear with it. Don't get involved in the back and forth of that. That's not going to be a good idea. And he suggests a way that we can do this. He says we can pay respect. We can keep in mind the old friendship, the former friendship that we had. And we can remind ourselves this person used to be a friend. And we might go beyond this as well. And if we understand this dynamic, we might say, well, it's understandable that they're going to be angry with me and upset and say these sorts of things because people don't like having their relationships broken off. But I do need to break it off, so I'm just going to put up with this and keep my head down and not respond in kind. So this is Cicero's advice about how we extricate ourselves from the friendships that no longer are good friendships and may in fact place us at risk, if we don't get out of them eventually, of some big blow up and a break-off that produces hatred, enmity, and resentment, which we want to try to avoid, not just for ourselves, but also for the former friend, because that's a good thing on both sides.